The Republic of Korea Armed Forces are also known as the ROK Armed Forces, are the armed forces of South Korea. Created in 1948, following the division of Korea, the Republic of Korea Armed Forces is one of the largest standing armed forces in the world, with a reported personnel strength of 3,600,000 in 2014. The ROK military forces are responsible for maintaining the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic, but often engage in humanitarian and disaster relief efforts nationwide. More recently, the ROK military began increasing its participation in international affairs, acknowledging its role and responsibility as the 15th economic power in the world in terms of GDP. The ROK military has participated in various peacekeeping operations and counter-terrorism operations. History. The South Korean armed forces were largely constabulary forces until the outbreak of the Korean War. It was heavily damaged by North Korean and Chinese attacks and in the beginning relied almost entirely on American support for weapons, ammunition and technology. During South Korea's period of rapid growth, the military expanded accordingly, benefiting from several government-sponsored technology transfer projects and indigenous defense capability initiatives. Modernization efforts for the ROK military have been in place since the 1980s. The globalsecurity.org website states that, in 1990 South Korean industries provided about 70% of the weapons, ammunition, communications and other types of equipment, vehicles, clothing, and other supplies needed by the military. Today, the South Korean armed forces enjoy a good mix of avant-garde as well as older conventional weapons. South Korea has one of the highest defense budgets in the world, ranking 12th globally in 2011, with a budget of more than $30 billion US dollars. Its capabilities include many sophisticated American and European weapon systems, complemented by a growing and increasingly more advanced indigenous defense manufacturing sector. For example, by taking advantage of the strong local shipbuilding industry. The ROK Navy has embarked on a rigorous modernization plan with ambitions to become a blue water navy by 2020. South Korea has a joint military partnership with the United States, termed the ROK-US Alliance, as outlined by the Mutual Defense Treaty signed after the Korean War. During the outbreak of the Vietnam War, ROK Army and the ROK Marines were among those fighting alongside South Vietnam and the United States. More recently, South Korea also takes part in regional as well as pan-Pacific national military war games and exercises such as RIMPAC and RSOI. Among other components of the armed forces is the Defense Security Command, originally the Army Counterintelligence Corps, which had a major role in monitoring the military's loyalty during the period of military rule in South Korea. Structure. The ROK Armed Forces consists of the ROK Army, ROK Navy, ROK Marine Corps, ROK Air Force. In addition, reserve elements consist of the ROK Reserve Forces, ROK Civil Defense Corps, National Command Authority. The President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces ex officio. The military authority runs from the President to the Minister of Defense, who is commonly a retired four-star general. The Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a four-star general or admiral, is the senior officer of the armed forces and has the operational authority over the armed forces, with directions from the President through the Minister of Defense. Traditionally, the position is filled by an officer of the Army. The chain of operational authority runs straight from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to the commandants of the several operational commands. Currently there are 5 operational commands in the Army, 2 in the Navy and 1 in the Air Force. The respective Chiefs of Staff of each service branch has administrative control over his or her own service. Each Chief of Staff is also a standing member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Joint Chiefs of Staff. The Republic of Korea Joint Chiefs of Staff Headquarters is a group of chiefs from each major branch of the armed services in the Republic of Korea Armed Forces. Unlike the United States, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has operational control over all military personnel of the armed forces. All regular members are 4-star generals or admirals, although the deputy chairman sometimes has only 3 stars. Service branches. ROK Army. The ROK Army is by far the largest of the military branches, with 495,000 personnel as of 2014. This comes as a response to both the mountainous terrain native to the Korean peninsula as well as the heavy North Korean presence. With its 1 million-strong army, 2/3 of which is permanently garrisoned in the front line near the DMZ, the current administration has initiated a program of self-defense, whereby South Korea would be able to fully counter the North Korean threat with purely domestic means within the next 2 decades. The ROK Army was formally organized into 3 armies. The 1st Army, 3rd Army and 2nd Operational Command, each with its own headquarters, corps, and divisions. The 3rd Army was responsible for the defense of the capital as well as the western section of the DMZ. The 1st Army was responsible for the defense of the eastern section of the DMZ, whereas the 2nd Operational Command formed the rear guard. Under a restructuring plan aimed at reducing redundancy, the 1st and 3rd Armies will be incorporated into the newly formed 1st Operations Command, whereas the 2nd ROK Army has been converted into the 2nd Operational Command. The Army consists of the Army Headquarters, the Aviation Command, and the Special Warfare Command, with 7 corps, 39 divisions, some 520,000 troops and estimated as many as 5,850 tanks and armored vehicles, 11,337 artillery systems, 7,032 missile defense systems and 13,000 infantry support systems. The Army will take the brunt of the personnel reduction part of the Defense Reform 307. Associated with this personnel reduction would be a significant reduction in the ROK Army force structure, in particular decreasing the current force of 47 divisions down to a force of about 28 divisions. ROK Navy. The ROK Navy is the armed forces branch responsible for conducting naval operations and amphibious landing operations. As a part of its mission, the ROK Navy has engaged in several peacekeeping operations since the turn of the century. The ROK Navy includes the Republic of Korea Navy Headquarters, Republic of Korea Fleet, Naval Logistics Command, Naval Education and Training Command, Naval Academy, and Republic of Korea Marine Corps, which is a quasi-autonomous organization. The Chief of Naval Operations is the highest-ranking officer of the ROK Navy. In 1995, Admiral In Pyeong-tae, the 20th Chief of Naval Operations, presented the vision of building a blue ocean navy for the future of the ROK Navy in his inaugural address. In 2001, then-President Kim Dae-jung announced a plan for building up a strategic mobile fleet as a part of Defense Reform 2020, which was proposed by the ROH Moo-hyun administration. The ROK Navy is required to reform the organization's under Commander-in-Chief Republic of Korea Fleet by upgrading a Submarine Operations Command, a Naval Aviation Operations Command, and by establishing some mobile flotillas. The ROK Navy aims to become a blue water navy by 2020. In the first decade of the 21st century, the ROK Navy launched the lead ships of newly developed types. In 2002, ROKS Chungmugong-yi Sunshine, a 4,500-ton destroyer, was launched. In 2005, the 14,000-ton amphibious landing ship, ROKS Dokdo, was launched. In 2006, the ROK Navy launched the Seon-1 Yil, an 1,800-ton Type 214 submarine with air-independent propulsion system. In 2007, the ROK Navy launched the lead ship of the King Sejong, the Great-class destroyer, built around the Aegis Combat System and the SPY-1D multifunction phased array radar. The ROK Navy is undertaking several shipbuilding projects. Korean Destroyer Experimental Program, Frigate Experimental, Landing Platform Experimental, Patrol Killer Experimental, and Korean Submarine Program. The ROK Navy hosted its second International Fleet Review off the coast of Busan in October 2008. ROK Marine Corps. Although the National Armed Forces Organization Act stipulates that the ROK Navy includes the Republic of Korea Marine Corps, the ROKMC is a semi-autonomous organization that carries out much of its functions independently. During the Korean War, the ROKMC earned their nickname as the motto of the ROK Marine Corps is ROK Air Force. The ROK Air Force maintains a modern air force in order to defend itself from various modes of threats, including the North Korean Army. The ROK Air Force fields some 450 combat aircraft of American design. In contrast, the North Korean Army has roughly 650 combat aircraft, but mostly obsolete types of Soviet and Chinese origin. Korea began a program for the development of indigenous jet trainers beginning in 1997. This project eventually culminated in the Kite E-50, dubbed the Golden Eagle, which is used as a trainware for jet pilots, now being exported to Indonesia. A multi-role all-weather version of the T-50 is the modified FA-50, which can be externally fitted with Rafael's Sky Shield or LIG NEX-1, SALQ-200 KECM pods, Sniper or LITENING targeting pods, and Condor II reconnaissance pods to further improve the fighter's electronic warfare, reconnaissance, and targeting capabilities. Other improved weapon systems over FA-50 include SPICE multifunctional guidance kits, Textron CBU-97 105th sensor fused weapon with WCM detail kits, JDAM, and JDAM are for more comprehensive air-to-ground operations, and AIM-120 missiles for BVR air-to-air operations. FA-50 has provisions for, but does not yet integrate, Python and Derby missiles, also produced by Rafael, and other anti-ship missiles, standoff weapons, and sensors to be domestically developed by Korea. The Republic of Korea Air Force also expressed interest in acquiring the RQ-4 Global Hawk and Joint Direct Attack Munition kits to further improve their intelligence and offensive capabilities. The replacement programs for the F-4D, E and F-5A, B, E, F are the KTX-2 and FX, respectively. The latter has been fulfilled by the Boeing F-15K. The South Korean government also announced its plan to develop indigenous helicopter manufacturing capacities to replace the aging UH-1 helicopters, many of which had seen service during the Vietnam War. The program originally included plans for the development of both a civilian and a military helicopter. This was later revised and gave priority to the utility helicopter program. Based on the success and experience of the civilian KMH, the attack helicopter, which would share a common configuration, will be developed. Personnel. Military service is mentioned as one of the 4 constitutional duties for all citizens. The current effective conscription law, however, applies only to males, although women can volunteer as officers or non-commissioned officers. Military service varies according to branch. 21 months for the Army and Marine Corps, 23 months for the Navy, 24 months for the Air Force and Civil Service. The other professional civil service is from 26 months to 36 months. Korea has a bonus point system which gives a person who completed military service bonus points when applying for a job. Recently, however, there has been significant pressure from the public demanding either a shortening of the term or a switch to voluntary military service. In the Republic of Korea Armed Forces, ranks fall into one of 4 categories: commissioned officer, warrant officer, non-commissioned officer, and enlisted, in decreasing order of authority. Commissioned officer ranks are further subdivided into Jangvan, or general officers, Youngvan, or field grade officers, and Wigwan, or company officers. The Wansu is appointed from the Daejang, who has distinguished achievements. However, there has been no one holding the rank of Wansu in the history of the ROK Armed Forces. All branches share a common rank system, with different colors used to denote the different branches. Ranks note: the English titles are given as comparative examples with the U.S. Army ranks. Budget, overseas deployments, modernization and future. The ROK military forces are undergoing rapid modernization in preparation for assuming wartime operational control of the ROK's defenses by December 2015. Several cutting-edge military systems are currently being inducted. At the same time, the ROK Armed Forces will see a reduction in active duty personnel from 640,000 to 517,000 by the end of this decade.